Thank you very much. This is a press statement by the United Alternative Government on the fuel scandal in our country, Kenya. Patriotic Kenyans, today we wish to draw the attention of Kenyans to one of the greatest fuel scandals in the history of independent Kenya. Thank you very much. This is a press statement by the United Alternative Government on the fuel scandal in our country, Kenya. Patriotic Kenyans, today we wish to draw the attention of Kenyans to one of the greatest fuel scandals in the history of independent Kenya. We have deliberately taken time to look into the oil scandal that has hit Kenya in the hope that the government of President William Ruto would be kind to the people of Kenya and save them from further agony. Little was it forgotten to us that Kenyans are on the and the entire energy value chain is completely a criminal enterprise under William Ruto. We wish to state as follows. On Thursday, the 2nd of April 2026, Kenyans were treated to dramatic arrests of former PA State Department of Petroleum, Mr. Mohamed Liban, Mr. Daniel Kipto, former DG EPRA, and Mr. Joe Sang, former MD, Kenya Pipeline Corporation. On 4th April 2026, a public statement made by William Ruto meant to hoodwink and fool the people of Kenya. He argued that oil cartels had been crushed to a halt. Further, he strongly stated as follows: that the international oil companies, IOCs, had not declared their inability to perform their obligations under contract. Yet we know that there was official communication requesting a contract review and price adjustment following the Middle East crisis. The other trio had resigned, yet they were forced to resign during the Easter weekend while still under police custody. That the three accused persons would be charged in a court of law for various offenses. The three international oil companies, IOCs, in the so-called G2G arrangements are Saudi Aramco, they supply diesel and super petrol; Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, ADNOC, they supply diesel and jet fuel; and Emirates National Oil Company, ENOC, they supply super petrol. These IOCs supply and distribute fuel through 6 hand-picked local oil marketing companies. But what was being hidden from the public was the real culprits of this scandal. The team leader of this oil scandal is William Ruto, Felix Koskei, and the abroad-based expert, the CS for Energy and Petroleum, Mr. Opio Wandai. And a local company, which is a nominee of the international oil companies, IOCs, awarded under the so-called G2G framework. While the crisis in the Middle East brought about the conflict of the USA and Iran, William Ruto saw a big business opportunity to fleece Kenyans, as he has always done. Kenyans will recall the Brazil maize scandal of 2009 when William Ruto was the Minister for Agriculture, and he was fired by the then Prime Minister, the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Truly, you can't change the character of a man. In the so-called G2G arrangement, Gulf Energy, William Ruto's proxy, via a letter dated 21st March 2026, addressed to the then PA State Department of Petroleum, Mr. Liban Mohamed, confirmed their inability to supply fuel and triggered a delivery default. Note that Gulf Energy supplies 4 out of 6, or 67% of the monthly fuel cargoes, leaving the other 5 oil marketing companies to supply the balance of 20%, or 2 cargoes imported under the so-called G2G framework. Since the IOCs in the so-called G2G framework agreement could not evacuate fuel through Strait of Hormuz and had communicated their inability to perform their contractual obligations, triggering a delivery default. The three government officers invoked relevant provisions of the Petroleum Importation Regulations 2023 and implemented a government directive issued by the National Security Council Committee via the letter dated 9th March 2026, reference number OP CAB 3/55A, to explore and implement strategies to diversify petroleum import sources beyond single region, reducing dependency and enhancing national energy security. As such, the above decision was implemented. On 18th March 2026, the State Department of Petroleum, a meeting of the Vessel Alignment Committee, which was chaired by one Joseph Wafula, was held to review the supply position and replenishment plan. The meeting was attended by 13 local oil marketing companies. During this meeting, it was recognized that there is a likely shortage or supply of petroleum products, and in accordance with Clause 21, Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, the 13 oil marketing companies were invited to submit an expression of interest for the emergency supply of contingency fuel stocks for delivery on or before 28th to 30th March 2026. It is important to note that only 4 of the 13 oil marketing companies submitted their bids within the stipulated timeframe. The awards for the supply of emergency contingency stocks was duly awarded to the 2 lowest technically compliant oil marketing board bidders, with the condition that the supply required a quality waiver from Kenya National Bureau of Standards, KEBS. Note, this was also in line with Clause 8.1 Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, an international best practice as seen in other countries who had relaxed fuel specifications following the effects of the Middle East crisis. Subsequently, via the letter dated 28th March 2026, reference MITI/CS/Volume 1/Waiver Number 3, signed by Honorable Lee Kenyanjui, CS Minister of Investment, Trade and Industry, addressed to the Honorable P.O. Wandai, granted waiver for oxygenates, manganese, sulfur, and benzene parameters in the KSES 158/2025. The following companies were awarded, who are the 2 lowest bidders: 1 Petroleum and Oryx. These were contingency cargoes with delivery dates on or before 30th March 2026. Their supply position was to provide fuel cover for 2 weeks, thus ensuring product availability during the Easter holidays. But where is the mischief of the oil cartels? William Ruto was well appraised of all these processes and procedures. All the directives were issued by the National Security Council Committee, chaired by Head of Public Service Felix Koskei, Ruto's errand boy. After William Ruto got a brief that Gulf Energy's bid was knocked out on technical grounds and the competitors had gotten their letters of award, he issued clear instructions that Gulf Energy bids be affixed to the procurement process and awarded with immediate effect. Gulf Energy submitted their bids 3 days later, on 23rd March 2026, after the awards had been executed. Their delivery was for the 8th to 15th April 2026, which was 10 days past the preferred date range of 28th March to 2nd April 2026. The bid of Gulf Energy was rejected by the Vessel Alignment Committee, State Department of Petroleum. This being William Ruto's proxy company that supplies 80% of monthly cargoes, he exercised political power. Characteristic of him, this is when the head started rolling. He knew that he had lost profit worth billions of shillings. Through a remarkable architecture, conman attitude, William Ruto orchestrated a terrible propaganda that the fuel supplied was substandard despite the comprehensive compliance due process followed by the gallant then government officers.